Hello everybody, and here we are at the studio. I'm going to do the continuation and completion of the Curling Amish Feather tutorial. I want to do a quick rehash. I have marked out a piece of white muslin, and I have a border here. It's a 7-inch border around the top, and the very first mark that you're going to want to do is around the edge, about 1/4 of an inch in, to take into account your binding. Your next mark that you're going to make is in the corner. You're going to do a miter, and then you're going to do that also in the other corner. You're going to measure your border, and my border is again 7 inches, and I'm measuring just beyond that 1/4 inch. And so I'm going to go ahead, it's 7 inches, half of 7 inches is 3.5. Just put a mark there, and I'm going to go around and put a registration mark and then put a line. Use a ruler and make a line to divide your border. The next line we're going to do is right in the middle of the border, so we can locate the center of the width. Now, the one thing to remember when you actually decide to utilize this design in a border, you want to make sure before you load the piece, of course, that you find the center of all 4 sides, so not just the top and the bottom, but also the sides, so that you can work your way down to the center. Okay, now the next mark that we're going to make is we're going to line this up in the corner, and we've got our crosshairs right here. And we put that right in the center of the border, and we go 3/4, slide it over, flip it up the opposite way. We want to make sure that that middle mark stays on the middle mark of the border, 3/4, slide it over, then we're going to flip it the opposite way all the way to the center. Now we're at the center. I'm going to swing that last one down. I want to make sure to leave room here for the feather fronds. And then what I do is I slide over and I go down and mark within my throat space. Next, we start at our right side corner, and we work our way in the same way, lining that up right on the crosshairs of the circle. I'm over here, same number of circles from the other side. Flip down, finish down my side. Okay, now I want you to get the view as you're actually quilting. So what I'm going to do is come over here, drop my needle right at the top of that circle in the corner, lock my stitches. I'm going to do a figure 8 up into the corner and down towards that point. I'm then going to come down and do a feather my way back to the figure 8, and then complete the whole outside. Okay, we've locked our stitches. I'm going to go up, do my figure 8. Now come down, go into a hook, like you're doing a flurry feather, come back around. Remember to swing those feathers way back and around on the back of the head of that hook. Come around, and again you're feathering up towards the figure 8s that you started with, up towards the figure 8s. When you're coming out of that hook, you're going to start stretching those fronds right up to the edge where you have your 1/4 inch line. Go back towards the figure 8, back towards the figure 8, back towards the figure 8, slide that last one in. I'm going to come back to the miter line, come back, lay it in, come around, lay it in, come around. Now remember, those blue marks, they're going to go away, so if you're not right on them, don't be too concerned. You just want to make nice smooth feathers. Come around, come around. Now as I start to go into that next circle, I want to make sure to make my fronds a little bit smaller. And as I come up to that next line for your next curling feather, I make sure I lay a feather right on there, come up so that that line's between, and I can backtrack between there when I roll my quilt and start down on the next row. Now normally when I start in the corner, I do one feather. I'm going to lock this off now, and then I'm going to backtrack all the way back, or you can cut your thread there and come back to the center. Now I come across and work toward the center of the top border. Okay, so I have that first hook. Come around. Remember, you get the fronds, put them in there, and come way around to the back of the head. This is the back of the head of that hook. This is the tip or the eye, and this is the back of the head. Really swing those fronds around. You only want really about 3 or 4 fronds in that center to fill it up. Otherwise it gets crowded and it gets awkward to work those feathers in. I'm bringing that up, and again I'm feathering in towards the figure 8. Up at the line, now I make sure that every frond hits that 1/4 inch line. Aim a little closer to my figure 8, a little closer, I got that last spot to squeeze in that last frond, lay it into the bottom teardrop, and feather right down to that miter line. Lay it in, come around to the spine. Now, I'm going to continue across, but you finish each feather inside and outside as you work your way across. Now I'm going into that next circle. Remember what I said. Keep that feathering nice and close. Lay it right on the line, lay it right on the line. In this next part you're going to see why I need to lay those fronds and have that line between 2 fronds. Around, backtrack down, come between those fronds. I'm going to flip the other way. And I'm going to do this all the way across towards the center. Close this off. Backtrack out, come between those 2 fronds. Flip again. Make that nice little hook, come right back around. Now I want to just nestle those right in. Nestle it right in. And remember, I do the traditional long arm feathers. You can do the over the top type feathers or the humpity bumps or whatever you want to call them. Okay, now I'm at the middle. So I'm going to do that last hook, come around, work my fronds into that previous feather, just nestle them right in there, and up. Now as I come across, I want to make sure that over here on the center portion, all my fronds meet here, because when I come from the other side, they'll meet right in the middle, and you want a nice, clear, crisp line. Come down, throw in a couple Humpty Bump feathers. Again, I come down, close that center off, and then just close this feather. And again, I want to go right down to the border line there. Backtrack, and I usually backtrack all the way back and lock it right at the bottom of the feather. And I try to lock my stitches, 3 or 4 stitches, give it a good lock, back and forth, small stitches. I'm going to start at the other side. Okay, so now I'm back over in this corner. I'm going to do the same exact thing that we did on the mirroring corner. I'm going to come down, do my first few fronds, backtrack or cut thread, come back up to the center, and work my way across to the middle. Now remember, you would have marked your centers so that you'll know when you get down to the center. Now I tend to work all the way down both sides. Some people prefer to do the top and then just kind of base the side borders on their way down as they finish the body, and then turn their quilt and complete the border. That's the most accurate way when you're new, but eventually you'll get comfortable enough where you can just go right down the sides and do it at the same time, so you don't have to do the turning. So I hope you've enjoyed, and if you like this design, I have this one done many times, many different ways on Thread Fusion, along with a bunch of other designs on that DVD. You folks have a great January and New Year.